Hey there, Rusty Nelson here, talking watercolor. I think this is episode 26 for the vlog, for the podcast, and we are working in my new schedule now where Mondays are my drawing and figure portrait stuff that I'll be posting. Wednesdays talking watercolor, and then Fridays is going to be watercolor tutorials. I think I've kind of broken it into that kind of a distinction, Monday and Friday. I'm not going to be doing as many shorts, if any, for a while. I'm going to focus on this. I do think there's a lot of topics and things I can mine on both the figure drawing, portrait drawing, and then the watercolor end of it as well. And it is essentially the time of the semester where I have gotten to, in the course of a normal semester with the students. I introduce the figure and the portrait stuff towards the end of the semester. So this is, if we were comparing my last 9 months on YouTube to my 15-week intro to watercolor course or my 15-week figure drawing course, this is about where we're at. I'm towards the end of it. And so I'm going to begin probably repeating and redoing some of those fundamental skill sets on the watercolor side and getting back to doing some things and focusing on basic shapes and the basic fundamental states and stages of watercolor so that you can definitely have some success with whatever it is you're going to be painting. And I do have a broad range of things I like painting and I'm interested in doing. In addition to figure drawing and drawing people, I've always been interested in that. And most of my work up until about 15 years ago was predominantly about people and scenes with people doing things in them. And actually, I used to work with a lot of antique imagery, antique photographs that were anywhere from 75, 80 to 100 years old, and then reworking those things as illustrations, as watercolors or gouache paintings. That used to just fascinate me, in that the idea of telling that story that was captured so long ago in an old black and white photograph, and that I had the ability to take that and bring and inject the color into it. And I was doing that at just about the same time as all the digital stuff was going crazy in my field, my graphic design field, that Photoshop had come along by that time, and people were starting to do some colorizing and things like that to old photographs. And I was just doing it on the traditional side of it, not the digital side, even though I've been doing a lot more of the digital I call them procedural digital watercolors, and you can see those on my website as well. They're out on the digital drop down in my artwork. So they're a lot of fun, and working with people has always been one of my favorite things. But I love painting birds. Birds have been my go-to tutorial for my students when I'm introducing them to wet media. They're easy, they're quick. I can get them done within an hour or an hour and a half with the students watching and asking questions and things like that. So birds have always been my wheelhouse for my wet media tutorials. So getting started in YouTube has really blown me out of my comfort zone, where I would only do watercolor birds just so I would have something successful for the students whenever I did the tutorials. With the YouTube channel, I'm doing a lot more broader range set of subjects that I don't necessarily have a canned routine for. So I'm kind of making all of those new things up, the landscapes, the various little scenes or stones, trees, all that. That's not been a part of my standard repertoire in class with the students live in class. So this has been a definite learning experience, something that I am working very hard to bring skills to bear and get them up to a speed where I'm not having to redo as many videos. I really haven't done that many. I am more than happy to put the mistakes out there for you to see and watch, because I think it's important to understand that it doesn't just happen, and it doesn't just happen perfectly every time. There's going to be mistakes, and that you need to know how to fix those mistakes, work around those mistakes, disguise them, embrace them, and ultimately, if nothing else can be done, start over. That's really all it is to it. It's not the end of the world if you have to start over, although a lot of the students up at the university oftentimes think that's the end result is their life is over. They had wasted all that time. But even though it was an unsuccessful piece, doesn't mean you didn't learn something from it. And I oftentimes, when I'm putting together a watercolor, something I really want to look good, the first time through it may be meh, may be kind of bland and not real exciting. And I'll look at it, set it aside, come back to it, look at it, do it again, and try to make a better set of decisions on that next version. And it may kick my butt again. And if there's certain subject matter, I know the thing that kicks my butt the most, and it's the thing that I've been working on the hardest, is landscapes. I mean, up until about 10, 15 years ago, if I had landscape in my piece, it was a very secondary component. I wouldn't worry a lot about it. It was always about the people or the action that was in the piece. So landscapes I knew was a weakness, and I hated them. And I mainly hated them because of the fact I think we had to do so many of them with oil paints and acrylic paints, which I just hated. So I really grew to dislike landscapes. And it wasn't until I picked up full transparent watercolor that I realized the fun things that can happen in a landscape with watercolor. So, but it's a challenge, and I've had to practice a lot, and I've had to fail a lot on a lot of these scenes and things that I'm doing. And I live in the Midwest, and there's not a lot of stuff. You have to get pretty creative subject matter wise or time of day wise to go out and find something that's interesting to paint, and really rely heavily on colors and your color theory, composition, and things like that. So we don't have those gorgeous mountains. We do have clouds, and we have skyscapes. And that's the next thing that just drives me bananas is working and trying to get a decent looking cloud. And I'm gonna be doing some more of those. I need to tune up my cloud skills and get those ready for the tutorials. And also, once I'm doing the figure drawing and the poses and portraits and all that, introducing that over onto the watercolor side, because getting a figure into a scene, a landscape scene or a cityscape or something like that, getting a watercolor figure that looks expressive, loose, and I guess, what's the right word? It's loosely intentional, right? You want it to be you want it to read like a figure, and it doesn't have to have a lot of detail in watercolor. It just has to have the right attitude, the right pose, and the right confidence coming through your hands. And that's where the practice comes in. If you spend enough time practicing any of these things, trees, your clouds, your mountains, if you're in an area where you're lucky enough to go out and have that majestic mountain range and catch it at just the right time of day, and you're able to paint it, wow, man, you are a lucky person. Or you're stuck in the Midwest like me out here on the flat plains, that you got to get pretty inventive and think even on the micro scale to find interesting things to paint. So anyway, get to practicing. It is the key component for getting up and running with your skills. I did get a lot of comments about people picking up and getting started again. They've discovered my channel. They like the tutorials I've been doing. I've managed to do the thing with them. I've managed to motivate and inspire somebody to pick up that brush and that pencil again. And it's been one of the things I've been keying on for the last 5 years, probably, up at the university with the college age students, is realizing really, and it's really since COVID, and we've been changing a lot of ways of how we're teaching. It's not just in class anymore. It's on Zoom. It's asynchronous and all that. It really comes down to figuring out, based on the topic of whatever it is you're teaching, you got to motivate. You got to get them inspired and want them to do what you're showing them and what they're there to learn to do. Because if they don't have that motivation, if they don't have that that inspiration to do it, they're going to hate their major and they're going to be changing majors and dropping and going somewhere else. And that's a key component. And these students are getting to be pretty valuable. We've had kind of a demographic cliff with enrollment in higher education. So the more we do as instructors to keep them motivated, well, get them inspired and keep them motivated. And trust me, it's not a new problem. It's just one I'm really focusing on for the last 5 years. But the whole time in my career in higher education, that's always been the biggest thing that I've noticed, is why students aren't more interested in doing the stuff in their majors that they're there to do. And it seems like they're always working on somebody else's assignments besides the things that are in their major that they should be focusing on. So it's, kids are definitely good at prioritizing and stomping out whatever fire is burning their butt at the moment. So they are masters of crisis management, and they do get good at it. And I don't doubt that is a very good skill to have, but it's also a good skill to kind of pre-plan and avoid having those flames, biting your butt. At some point they're going to get tired of that. So they're going to start working and pre-planning and working a little further ahead. But anyway, if they can just find that motivation, and I'm so glad that I've been able to help people get motivated at whatever age too. I've got really a lot of nice comments from, young, middle-aged, and old people picking up that brush, that pencil, and returning to something that they love doing. For whatever reason, they got away from it. Life got in the way. They maybe took it in a slightly different angle than what they imagined they would have done. And they're ready to go after it again. They want to start over or pick it back up or start afresh. And this is so much fun, and I'm glad I'm a part of that. I'm able to help, and I'm going to continue doing these things. I'm still doing a lot of research on other things I can be doing in preparation for my retirement gig coming up one of these days soon that I'm really excited about. And this channel has a large role in that retirement years that I want to continue doing this because I do love teaching. I have a lot of fun with the students, and I'm having a lot of fun with everybody on YouTube and interacting and going back and forth and hearing what people have to say. So I do think this is going to keep me busy, going to keep me occupied, and I'm going to really, I think, extend my years by continuing having something to do in retirement. And I'm really looking forward to it, and should be a lot of fun. So I have been going on for about 13 minutes talking about just trying to motivate. So that's hopefully I can get better at that and get better at my video making and just be persistent. And I got one of the best comments. I just got it today, I think, was, hey, don't get frustrated. Getting started on YouTube takes a lot of time and some patience. And it's like, yep, I know. I keep telling myself that, but then those damn viral videos go nuts and blows your expectations to hell. So I'm getting my equilibrium back again. So I'm going to be getting some good stuff coming up. Some more portraits. I got some Halloween stuff planned coming up. That should be fun on the end of the month tutorials. I've got some new basic things on watercolor, rehashing some things, some basic shape things. I think I'm going to be doing a bird again, a fairly simple landscape with some basic perspective in it. So really kind of going back and reintroducing everybody. I found in the past that that's a really good thing to do. If you're learning how to do something, watch a tutorial, do it several times, and it kind of extended away from that original tutorial, and then coming back and watching it. I've done that for years with my illustration class, give them some demos. I watch some stuff, give them the demos, and every year I come back and we start over again. It's always good to start over from scratch, that base level, get those fundamental lessons under your belt again and take it off again, and it good results from that point. So Anyway, I hope everything is going well with your creative journey, your watercolor journey, your portrait journey, your figure drawing journey, whatever it is. I'm going to be here to help and hopefully expose some good insights into how to go about doing it. Everybody's going to be different though, so don't get frustrated. If you can't do what I'm showing, try it, and you're going to ultimately figure out something that's going to work for you, and it's going to be all you. It won't be about me. It won't be about any of your friends. It's going to be what you're able to do. So, hey, I want to thank you for watching today. If you got any value out of this video, give me a like and a subscribe, and I'll see you in the next Talking Watercolor.